Just before we get going, one correction from last time. I rolled a 1, I needed higher than a 2 to get those feathers on the Capo warpath in my control. But there's one rule I missed, and that is once you've incorporated the first chiefdom and established your peace pipe marker along the warpath, all subsequent diplomacy rolls are called busks. And with a busk, you roll 2 diplomacy dice and you choose the better result. So we fail with our first roll, we get a second roll. Okay, that failed as well. But there you go, bear that in mind. Once you've got your peace pipe, you can roll twice and pick the best. A busk is a mound builder festival, also called the Green Corn Ceremony. Chiefdoms can now see that it's only thanks to your leader that the sun rises every morning and the crops grow, so they're much more amenable to peace. Let's now draw our history card and continue in part 2. We have Portsmouth, 3 action points, a Shawnee revolt and hostiles on Shawnee, a downward arrow. Okay, so same thing again. We have 3, this one goes over on the Shawnee, it's decline. And we have a Shawnee revolt, don't we? So we roll 1d6. We've got a 5, which is Newark. And during the Hopewell era, if it's a land you don't control, then nothing happens. If I rolled a 1, again, we don't control this yet. Okay, it's organised. It's called organised because it has a chiefdom here. These unoccupied ones are unorganised currently, but we don't control it. We need to have our peace pipe here. But this is where these icons are significant. If you see this green birdman icon on the land that you've rolled, then again there's no effect. These chiefs, the people here love you, so they're not going to revolt. But on these ones with the red crossed arrows, that will revolt, and they'll push your peace pipe backwards. They're trying to undo the good work you've done advancing. Okay. Right, so let's crack on with our actions. So this time, let's head and have a crack at seashells. So in here in number 1, Angel. So I'll spend an action point, we'll roll the die. We need to roll higher than a 2. There's a 3 here, but it's in decline, so a 2. It's a 2, that's a fail. Let's try again. I need a 3 or higher. Okay, we got a 6. Good roll. So we can place a peace pipe here. Hopefully you've gotten the hang of incorporating chiefdoms. The next thing you could do, and you can do this in every era, is to build a mound here. And mounding means flipping it over, making it a little bit more strong. Now, unfortunately, the cost in action points to mound one of these chiefdoms is the battle value. I've only got 1 action point left, so I'm not going to be able to mound any of these. Okay? So what we'll try and do instead with our final action point is perhaps move a little bit further along this warpath. I meant to put a token here in Fort Ancient. Every time you move up here you have to discover the next land along. So Fort Ancient has Church, Strength 3. So let's have a crack at that one. So let's spend an action point. This one is a 3 with -1. Brings it down to 2. I need higher than a 2. Yeah, we got a 3. So we move this up and discover a new tile. And it's feathers. Well, we had a feathers here. Now one thing that's important is when we get to talk about the goods and trading goods, basically goods are going to give us action points. In the moment we're seeing white circles, they give us automatic action points. When we see black circles, then what's going to happen is we're going to be getting action points relative to the number of goods that we can trade. If we have a mounded chiefdom in our kingdom, then we can trade those goods, church. However, an unmounded one, like here, seashells, they don't give you any tradable goods until you have at least 2 chiefdoms. Right, let's crack on. Next one, poverty point. We've got 1 action point, so that's not very good. We have hostiles in decline are the Caddo, and then a Caddo revolt. This needs to be over here. Let's roll a 1d6. See, we don't want a number 1 here. It's a 2, we're alright. Because it's a wilderness, nothing happens. There's no peoples there to revolt. Alright, we've only got 1 action point this time. I think we should try and advance our peace pipe into Marksville here. So let's use an action point. It's going to make this down from a 2 to a 1. We need higher than a 1. Yeah, we got a 3, so this moves up. We place a new one here. It's another 2. Right, let's crack on. Dixon, 2 action points. This time it's an upward arrow, and it's green. The Ho-Chunk homeland gets this ascension now. And then we have a Ho-Chunk revolt. And this won't do anything because I haven't got any lands here. It's a 4. Yeah, nothing's going to happen. Perhaps I'd like to do some mounding, and I think I'll mound this Mika here. Interestingly, it is modified by this. So if the Cardo were an ascension, it would actually cost me 3 action points to mound Toltec. If they're in decline, it would only cost me 1. It's going to cost me 2 action points. You must control the chiefdom, so it must be at or behind your peace pipe, so I do control this. So I'll spend 2 action points and turn this over. I'll show you one more type of action. Let's flip the next card. It's Bynum. We get 3 action points. And the Natchez are in decline. And we get a Natchez revolt. Again, it's not going to do anything because we don't control anything here. I've got 3 action points, so yeah, I'd want to be pushing up here. But one other thing that you can do during any era is spend 2 action points to fortify your capital. And all this means is you click it round 1. And you can do that as many times as you can afford on your turn. Let's spend 1 more action point and go after Kincaid here. It's got the -1, it's in decline, so I need higher than a 2. And I failed. Okay. This is the frustration with these games, you know, the dice can work against you. But that's the fun, you know, that's why there's good moments and bad moments. Well, I'm going to finish playing through the Hopewell era. Come back and join me when we head to Mississippian. Okay, we've run through our deck. We've done okay. We had a few horrible turns when the dice were really not with us, but we managed to get peace pipes on all of the warpaths. So that's a good start. And now we place each one of these on the next land up from our peace pipe. So Spanish is the only exception, they stay off the board. Cherokee is going to play here, Cardo here, Ho-Chunk here, Shawnee here, and Natchez here. So that was good. I mean, the bad news is if you don't have a peace pipe on, then they're going to start in the number 1 spot right up against your capital. That's going to be tough. Next, we need to remove peace pipes from all warpaths that don't have at least 1 mounded chiefdom. So that's the Natchez. We've got one here. We don't have one here. We have one here. Yeah, we don't have one here. So these 3 are going to begin at war right from the beginning. The others, the strength of our mound building has kept us at peace with those Indian nations. We change our historical era. We're moving into the Mississippian. And then we figure out how many trade goods we've got. And the way I like to do this is just place some markers down here on this trade goods track for each good. You can see that they list them here: hides, chert, feathers, copper, and so on. So I just like to go through them one at a time. And what I'm looking for is, so for hides, at least 2 chiefdoms that produce hides. If I do, then I can trade hides. Or do I control at least 1 mounded chiefdom that produces hides? When you're doing this count though, you should also include the ones that have got the standees on, because you don't have to control them. Even if these things just have to exist on the map and they're happy to trade with you. So let's have a look. I've got hides here and hides there. So that's 2. So yeah, hides are good. So all I like to do is just grab one of these chieftain tokens. They're not going to be used now, and I'll just mark it here to say, yeah, we've got hides. Okay, chert. Do we have chert? There's 1 here, but that's it. There aren't any more, so no, I'll just leave that one blank. Feathers, yeah, well, we've got mounded feathers here, so we've got feathers. Copper, we've got 2 coppers, so we're good with copper. Mica, we got mounded. And seashells, we have 1. Okay, so that means we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5 goods. So I'll place the trade goods here on the number 5. Next thing we need to do is take the Great Sun marker. It's actually double-sided. On one side is the black tortoise, we'll talk about that later. On the other side is the Great Sun. Dominating the Mississippian era was Cahokia's greatness, as embodied by the city's hereditary ruler, who gets awarded this title of the Great Sun. Well, we've got a choice at this stage. We can either place it over here as an available leader, in this leader available, unavailable, and we can kind of use it, and it will get used and then refreshed at the end of each turn. Or we could place it in one of our lands. If we feel that there's one particularly vulnerable warpath, we can place our Great Sun there, and the Great Sun, or the leader, can execute this ambush. Let's leave it here for now. We'll show you what it does when it's over here, and then we'll switch it in and try the other method during play, because you can move it around during the game. Next we're going to prepare our cards, so we'll put aside the Hopewell era cards, grab our stack that we set aside, and we're looking for the silver ones first off, the generic ones. Take out the 2 Spanish ones. Let's give these a shuffle. And what we've got to do first is kind of create the base of the next draw deck. We'll count 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Place them to one side. Okay. Next we're going to build the end of the Mississippian era. I find it really hard to say that word, I don't know why. We'll do 4 cards. We'll add the Spanish number 26 card to them. We'll give them a shuffle. So we know that the Spanish card is in amongst these 5 somewhere, but not exactly where. They'll go on top of these 6, so we've got a deck 11 high right now. And then we'll do the same for our Kuza. So we'll take our silver cards, do 4 more, mix Kuza in. So again we've got 5 cards with the other Spanish card. Stick that on top. Now we take the remaining cards, plus the 2 green ones that were unused from Hopewell. We're going to shuffle these all together, and we've formed one big deck. Okay? And these go on top. Okay, so we've got a structured deck now to take us through the Mississippian era. And it's much the same as Hopewell. The initial actions are unavailable to us, but we're going to keep playing through this deck until we hit that Kuza card,